Alright, so we're back again, working on this poster here. You notice my frame rate's kind of dropping off a little bit. I'm working on something else in the background, so I'm trying to keep the camera motion to a minimum, so that way we don't bounce. It's not too bad yet, but once we put the lights and the particle effects and eventually ambient occlusion, it's gonna be pretty bad. So try and breeze through this pretty quickly. We've got the animation onto the characters that are in the viewport here. One thing that I want to do is I want to change a couple things that these guys have got. Like, I want to make this arm like it is in the picture here, where his arm's forward like he's actually firing the Medigun. I'm also going to drop the heavy down a little bit so that way he's a little bit smaller in the frame, because you notice I've got him squatted down, so we're going to go ahead and put a rig on him. I'm going to do that first. Let's go ahead and put a rig onto the heavy. Biped simple. Oops, wrong one. Wrong one. I don't want that. It's too early in the morning for this. Come on. Come on. Don't you dare freeze on me. There we go. Matter of fact, while I'm thinking about it, I'm just going to Control S and save it so that way it doesn't crash. Let's see. Not a sequence, I want a rig. Put a simple on him. Okay. So, let's go over here for a second. I want to grab his pelvis with the rig on it, and I want to drop him down a little bit. Something, let me see how he looks in the frame. This is usually whenever I start dropping stuff down, I look at it in the frame to make sure it looks alright. That looks pretty good, so I'm going to pull his leg forward. I'm going to take this leg and I'm going to move it back a little bit, just to give him a wider stance so that he shrinks down. Probably... That was Shift E, by the way. That'll orient it towards the camera. Yeah, because the other way, if I just hit E, it's oriented towards the model. If I hit Shift E, it's oriented towards the camera. So I'm going to make him lean back just a bit. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to grab the minigun. I noticed in the other video, I kept calling the minigun the Medigun. I'm bad about doing that because they sound so similar. I just want the weapon bone, just the weapon bone, and I'm going to tilt the weapon bone up just a bit. Come on, come on, a little bit more, right there. Alright, I'm going to grab his hand. Typically I don't do hand motion with the rig on it just because it doesn't look right, but this is just going to be a quick fix. So I'm just going to pick his hand up, put something like that. And the reason why I'm picking up the muzzle is, why I want the muzzle of this up is because once we put the particle effect for the heel beam of the Medigun, it doesn't have control points in between it, and it can bend in really weird ways. Like it can drop down here and do that. Typically, if you have this down below, lower than the point that your other control point is, it will behave, which is what I'm wanting. We're probably still going to have to end up doing some refinement, so I'm going to go ahead and reframe the camera a little bit more. And probably need to zoom in just a bit. Something like that. And let's bring the heavy forward some more. And let's turn him a little bit. About like that right there. That's pretty good. And just make sure he's on the ground, which he is. Okay, so the heavy's done. Let's fix this thing on the medic here. Now, I could lasso this and fix it, but I'm not going to. The easiest way I found to do it is to come up here, open up his arm group. I'm going to open up his fingers too. That's his right arm, so I want everything associated with his right. So just click this one, shift select all the other ones, and control select his right fingers. And right click on it and import a sequence. Now this one I have to think about because I can't remember the name of it. Oh, it's in here somewhere. It's in here somewhere. Scroll up and look and look and look. I think it's action. It might be attack stand secondary. No, that's not it. Something else I've noticed is that some of these guys are in layers. Like, let me go down here and see if it works on this guy. I haven't tried it yet. If I do run secondary, I can actually go into here and add a second channel to it, if I can find it. This is how the game works, by the way. It will have a primary sequence applied to a model, and then, like, say you fire, rather than have a run sequence where it's just you firing, it has a layered sequence that goes on top of it. Like, let's see, I can make him run, and if I can find it, it is layer attack stand secondary. And sometimes it doesn't work, and I don't think that's the one I'm looking for actually. I want attack stand secondary. It's not. Oh, yeah, because you got to move the slider across. See that? If you move the slider across, and let me zoom in here so you can look. Actually, let me move 0. Okay. So if I move this across, he'll sit there and apply the motion. Okay? And I should have talked about that in the last tutorial when we were talking about putting animation sets on it. It slipped my mind. But you can actually add the animation to him, and you can go down, you can add as many as 4. So he can be running, you come down here and you grab whatever one you want. I want attack stand secondary, and then slide it forward. And now the animation's on there. But since we've already got an animation set on him, I'm not gonna, let me just cancel that out because I don't know how to do it. Let's just go back in here, we're just gonna import a sequence, and I want attack stand secondary. So a attack stand secondary. Just like that. So if I do this, see how it moves forward? And that saves me from having to go back and change a bunch of crap. So let's see. Alright, now the thing we're going to have to do is, I can already tell, we're going to have to... I should have put it on the right arm too, because it actually drops down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just rig the medic, and I'll just move it manually. It won't take but a second. Let's see. If I move his hand, yeah. Let's just do that. And we're going to grab the joint lever here and just spin it forward. Spin it forward. I'm moving, it's not a frame rate drop, I'm just moving it really slow. That looks pretty good. And we're going to grab his hand and pick his hand up. Come on. And move his hand forward just a bit. And up. Too much. Somewhere. Actually needed to rotate his hand a little bit. Some of these animation sets are a little weird. That's why I say in the last video, just tweak them a little bit, make them look better, because some of this stuff is made to look good in the game because you're moving around, you don't necessarily see it, but when you're making posters, everything is noticeable. So just looking at that looks pretty good. if anything, I should probably take the medic and turn him. Something like that. Okay. So there we go. It's not perfect, but it'll do. For those of you that are just joining us, this is what we're making. So, yeah. Alright, so that looks decent. I'm going to go ahead and pull the rigs back off these guys, which is pretty typical for me. Usually whenever I'm done with the rig, I'll go ahead and pull it off, just so I don't have to mess with it. And as soon as it gets done... Okay, let's go ahead and get the one off the heavy too, so that way I'm not... In case I have to go and do something to them, I don't have to worry about it. So... Also, we have to fix something up here with this hat. And you notice how these stretch a little bit? That's just the way the animation set is on them. Yeah, okay. It looked weird from that side, but it looks good from the camera angle. Other thing too, some of this stuff may look a little weird back here. Like, see how this stuff has started detaching from the coat? It is something to be concerned about, but if I go over here into the camera viewport, now that one is broke, so I'm going to have to fix it a little bit. Actually, we'll just move the camera over so that way you don't see it. Actually, I'm just going to take that off because it's too much. These models are a little bit of a pain to deal with anyway, so I'm just going to take it off of there completely and just leave it. But yeah, I mean, you're worried about making a image look good from one camera or from one angle, which is the angle that you're using for your camera. So as long as it looks good from here, you're gold, which this one looks pretty good, so I'm going to leave it alone. I'm probably going to have to zoom out. I'm in a little bit too close. Like that. Okay. Now, let's see. What else is left? Let's go ahead and do the facial animations. So, if it'll work. Sometimes the facials do not work for me for whatever reason. Hopefully they're going to work now. So let's start with the medic because he's closest. I'm just going to select his face. And I'm going to slide through these tabs. And I see emotions. Everybody's got emotions. My favorite one is, if I can find it, Evil Smile. That's arguably my favorite one with the medic. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking between these two viewports because I want to know how it's going to look whenever it comes in frame, because it may look really good here, and then whenever you get over here you lose a lot of detail. I find that when you're not really far away shots, but when you've got some distance between the camera and the character, you have to exaggerate a lot of the emotions so that way they'll show up on the camera. Which is why I like this one, because typically I'm not in for close-ups with the medic. So, alright, we got that on there. I'm going to open his jaw. And let's see. Let's not do that one. This one. Yeah. You notice I did something. This. Let's go back. So let's open this. That doesn't look too bad. I'm not trying to make a carbon copy of this, by the way. I'm just making something a little bit different, and you should be doing the same thing if you're following along with me. You shouldn't be trying to make a carbon copy. You should be making something that's individual to you, something that you like. I happen to like this, that's why I'm making it, and I'm making it for your benefit as well as mine, so that you can see how some of the things that I can do, and also so it reaffirms stuff that I did. Now what I just did there was I selected his eyes and I hit Alt V in the viewport to bring it up there. I'm going to move his eyes around, grab this little tab here. I forget what this is called. Grab that tab, hold the shift key, put it down here in between his eyes, and hello. And go over here. That looks alright. And I'd say the medic's pretty much done. Unless I want to put hats on him, which you can. Let's put a hat on him. Why not? Why not? I know that the team captains are called officer caps. There's 3, one for the heavy, medic, and soldier. I'm just going to do a very quick lock onto him. Come up here, grab his head, drag it down, lock it, grab just the head. Come back over here to this, 0 it. And now the old German bastard is getting ready to charge forward. Alright, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave the heavy alone. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly put something on here because there's something I want to do. One thing I need to do is fix that clip. Turn his head over that way. Just make sure that he's still looking at the medic, which that's fine. There's something else that I want to do very quickly. I want to try and get the particles on here in this end of the tutorial by the end of this video, so that way we can do lighting in the next one, because the lighting is going to take quite a bit. And I want to do lighting, and then we'll do the actual ambient occlusion, everything. Oh, video's done. Great. Nope. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm rendering these videos as I'm going. That's why there was a little bit of drags. That way these will come out in order. Okay. Great. Frame rate's back. Yay. Alright, let's do the heavy real quick. Quit wasting time. Alright, face and what I tried to do in this picture was I tried to emulate this evil smile on the heavy, and it's going to take a little bit of time to do it. I'm just going to, for right now, he's got happy big, close his jaw, do the, where is it, platymus, and crank smile up, up, something like that. Bring this back. A little bit of lip curl, a little bit of dimple, and open his jaw, and frown, inner squint. We don't want that. We want his eyes fairly wide open. The inner brow, bring it in. Outer brow, bring it up. Make it look like he's sort of, you know, that evil, sinister look to him. Scalp, not worried about it. Close the lid and open him up. And just, that's just how I figure out stuff, as I just kind of play with them, try and make them look good. I think that'll look pretty good. He's got that really, really sinister look on it. He's getting ready to give somebody a bad day. Alright, so eyes, click over here, Alt V, hit the rotational tool, and grab the tab, put that up there, in between his eyes. Oh yeah, he's kind of creeping me out. Alright, so that's that. Great. Let's go ahead and get the particles in here real quick. Because, let's see, 20 minutes. I can do this. I can do this. So what I'm going to do is, I am going to I want to open up the particle editor. So up here in Window, particle editor tool. I want to, come on. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to go into the TF file, so go into game. It's source filmmaker game. TF will bring up your particles. There's particle folder. The one that I am looking for should be under... It's not under item effects. Actually, let's bring up the heal beam first. So, it's in here under Medigun Beam. The only reason I'm doing this is because I want to show you guys the Medigun Beam stuff. These are all of the heal beams that are in TF2. So you've got the ones that are up here for the dispenser. You've got various ones for... There's still some dispenser stuff here. These are the ones for the Medigun. Every single one of them. Valve made these things in passes. The actual final ones are layered. So what we're going to do... these are the ones for the vaccinator. The different heal types for the vaccinator. These are the red versions. Somewhere in here should be the ones for the Kritzkrieg and the quick fix. They might not be in this folder, but the one I want is this one right here, red beam invuln. So go up here to tools, switch back to SFM, and I want to start a particle system. And we'll browse over, and I want Medigun Beam. I want Medigun Beam red invuln. Now, these start times are a little bit hard to comprehend for some people. What you've got is, this is the start time according to the playhead. Right now I've got it at 0. If I left it like that, it would start emitting at 0. I want it to start before 0, so I'm going to put -10, which means that this will start emitting at 10 seconds before the playhead, or before the clip. So whenever the clip starts playing, it's already emitting. I'm going to set this to, let's say 15. So you have to do the math on this. If you start at 10 and it emits for 15 seconds, it will go whenever the clip starts playing. It will only emit for 5 seconds after the start of the clip because it's based off of where it started. So 10, 15, it'll run for 5 seconds past that. Okay? This particle system lifetime right here, if I set that to 0, it won't emit at all. If I set it at 15, whenever it plays out for 15 seconds, it just stops. It will just disappear. If I put in 20, there's a 5 second, there's 5 seconds in between the time that this stops emitting and whenever the particle actually will dissipate. And it works really good on the Medigun. If these, like I said, if these matched at 15 seconds in, it would quit. But this is sort of a cooldown, and not all particles do it, but it's sort of like a fade out. So we're just going to set this for 15 and 20. It doesn't matter because we're making a still image. Now you can't see it. Most of you guys are going to know this. To save my frame rate, I'm actually just going to do it like this, and then I'll worry about it in a minute. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab the BIP spine 0 on the medic, and that's going to be control point 1. I'm going to go over here because the minigun doesn't have a muzzle. I'm going to grab the hand of the heavy. Actually, I'm going to grab the barrel. That's what I'm going to do. We'll use the barrel. That's going to become control point 1, or control point 0. And I'll show you what those are in just a second. But for right now, I'm just going to grab it and come up here. And 0. Notice how they've moved. Alright, I'm going to go out of the shot. Come back. And there it is. So you can see it. Well, you can't see it because it's too light. There we go. There we go. Now you can see it. Alright. So these control points here, this is control point 0 is usually the origin, control point 1 is the destination. I want to move this forward so it looks like it's coming out of the minigun. I'm just gonna, sometimes you have to refresh a little bit. I want to move it forward some more. Let's see how that looks on the camera. Now remember what I was talking about in the other video about how this thing kind of bends a little funky depending on where it is. If I were to move the minigun down, it would come down and then it would go back up. You can make this stuff bend. There is a limit. There's a limit in game to how far away this thing can go, and it's built off of that. But in this one, you can make it go infinitely. Now the particle will start getting stretched out, and it won't look good. But theoretically, you can go as far as you want to. All right, 25 minutes. Let's get through this. All right, I'm going to scrub through the playhead to right there. And I'm going to come back here. And maybe back up a couple. Something like that. I'm going to make a bookmark. Now this is where you make bookmarks. Because that's telling me that's where I want this particle system to be. So whenever I actually go ahead and lay off the image, I've got it where I want it. I'll just lay it off on that one right there. So we're going to do that. Okay, so that's done. The other thing I'm going to bring in here is going to bring in another Medigun Beam, and for this one I want Medigun full charge. It's in here somewhere. It's in here somewhere. Invuln state full charge red. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing. Except I'm going to start this one at -5. I'm going to let it run for 10. And we'll just do 10. That. Now this one's got 2 control points as well, but you only need to worry about control point 0. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to select the control point, this one. And I'm going to bring it to that one and just lock it. And 0 it. Come out of the playhead. Go back in. There it is. And see how it's here. Probably need to back it up a little bit, so just kind of move it back, scrub a little bit, move it back, scrub a little bit, move it forward, scrub a little bit. That works. You can actually, I can actually put that effect on this entire minigun, on the entire minigun. I'm not going to do it right now, just because I don't have time to show you. I want to try and knock this, I want to try and shorten this video up a little bit. So 2 minutes left. Yeah, I'm going to leave it right there for right now. So we've got the particle effect in it. Let me scrub over to where we are. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there for right now. And when we come back, I will put the muzzle flash and the ejector brass and all that good stuff onto it, and then we'll do the lighting, and we'll put the final render stuff on it, and we'll be done. So I'll see you in the next one.